I'm going to be looking at Mary Macleod's All Butter Shortbread Cookies. This small package contains 9 cookies and 2 different flavors, Chocolate Crunch and Classic. I'm going to be reviewing both flavors in this video. I've heard that these are premium cookies, but I've never tried them because they also come with a premium price tag. I'll talk more about that later. Before we open them up and try them, let's have a quick look at the nutritional info. I knew these weren't going to be healthy, but 100 calories for a cookie this small? Ouch. I hope they taste good. Bring a couple in for a closer look. They do look really good. They look nice and soft and flaky. They feel nice too. Just look at that texture. I'm going to taste each of the 2 flavors on their own and then dip them in coffee, as you do with shortbread cookies. So what do I think? Let's start with taste and flavor. Both flavors are perfectly sweetened and have a well-balanced flavor. They're not bland and not too sweet. They're very light and refined, definitely not too sugary. The sweetness does not overpower the butter. They have a really nice, rich, buttery flavor to them. They're not very oily, and there's no lingering oiliness after you eat them. I didn't pick up any odd flavor notes. Both flavors tasted exactly how I would expect them to, and they don't leave a bad aftertaste. It's really difficult to just stop at one, and if they weren't 100 calories per cookie, I probably would have eaten all 9 in one sitting. So overall, for taste and flavor, I'm going to give these a 5 out of 5. They definitely met expectations. Next, we're going to move on to the smell. The aroma of these cookies is as you would expect with a shortbread cookie. When you put them up to your nose, you can smell the sugar and the butter, and they definitely smell appealing. They don't smell overly sugary or manufactured. I'm going to give smell a 5 out of 5. Now we're going to move on to texture. So one of the key things about a shortbread cookie is how it feels in your mouth. You don't want it to be too hard or too soft or too flaky. It has to be just right. And what I'll tell you about these cookies is I actually prefer the chocolate crunch texture over the classic. Here's why. The chocolate crunch texture was a bit more soft. It flaked apart much better in your mouth. Even when I dip it in the coffee, it flakes apart better in my mouth than the classic one. I prefer the taste of the chocolate crunch as well. Both of them are very tender though, and slightly crumbly, and melt in your mouth. It's just that the chocolate crunch one does it better. They're not too dry, they're not overly dense, or overly airy. Overall, both flavors of cookies capture texture very well. I'm going to give that a 5 out of 5. Next, I want to talk about appearance. This is a 5 out of 5. So the appearance of the cookies themselves look phenomenal. You saw it when I brought them up for a close-up on the screen. The texture looks amazing. They look very appealing, something that you want to eat. I certainly don't mind the way the packaging looks either. Even though there's only 9 cookies in here, the packaging is well done. It's pretty simplistic with the clear package and the bow on it, but it works. It's something that if you see in the store while you're walking by, you might want to pick it up if the price wasn't too crazy. Speaking of price, let's talk about value for money. The only reason I picked these up this time is because they were on sale, and on sale for a crazy price. So originally, these 9 cookies retail for $12.99 plus tax. That's more than $1 a cookie. I've walked by them plenty of times in the store, but I've never picked them up because I'm not willing to spend so much money on 9 cookies. I think that's ridiculous. But when I saw them on sale for $4.99, I thought, finally, here's my chance. I'll finally be able to try these famous Mary Macleod's cookies. And I'm not disappointed by them at all, but I wouldn't pay $12.99. So here's how it goes for value for money. At $4.99, yeah, why not? I'll pick them up once in a while. I'll give that a 4 out of 5. But at $12.99, I would never pick them up. That's a 0 out of 5. So if they're on sale, pick them up. If they're not, that's really up to you. Next, I want to talk about uniqueness. So I've had shortbread cookies before, some store-bought, some homemade. So in the grand scheme of things, they're not very unique. I've actually had better homemade shortbread cookies, but for store-bought, these really hit the spot. And they're very unique for store-bought because most store-bought shortbread cookies miss the mark. They're either too sweet or too soft or too hard. These ones are just right. For a store-bought perspective, I'm going to give uniqueness a 5 out of 5. Before I move on to the final rating, I want to talk about quality. When you look at the ingredients, there's nothing special, nothing really stands out. Looks like typical ingredients for a shortbread cookie, or any cookie for that matter. But whatever the ingredients are that they used, the quality of them is great. Once again, it goes back to what I talked about before, with the uniqueness, the texture, the taste, all of that stuff. None of those would be that good if they didn't use quality ingredients. I'm going to have to give quality a 5 out of 5. Alright, now time to move on to the final rating. I'm sure you can guess where I'm going to go with this. Overall, it's a 5 out of 5. Even though they're absurdly expensive, I can't fault the taste, the texture, the uniqueness, the quality, even the packaging and the look. Everything's amazing with these cookies. I just wish they weren't so expensive when they're at regular price. I'll never buy them at $12.99 for 9 cookies. It'll just never happen. $4.99 is reasonable, but even that's kind of expensive. But I guess if you want a premium brand and premium quality, you do have to pay a premium price, right? If you're interested in purchasing these cookies, there is a link in the description below. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.